In the beginning there was only darkness, pierced by the low rumble of distant thunder. A single raindrop fell, splashing into eternity, its echo pulsing like a hidden heartbeat. Then, emerging from the void, an inverted world appeared in the depths of a murky Tarna crumbling mansion reflected upside down, its windows twisted into the shapes of screaming eyes staring back from the abyss. What if the house you dared to enter was more than mere stone and shadow? What if it breathed with a life of its own, hungering for souls? What if it claimed you as its own? We plunge into the tale of the Haunting of Lafourcade House, where the walls whisper secrets that no one escapes. On a dull, dark autumn dusk, I rode alone through a desolate countryside, the oppressive clouds hanging low like a funeral pall. The wind howled through barren moors, scattering dead leaves that fled like tormented souls, while skeletal trees clawed at the bruised sky, their branches reaching out in silent accusation. At last, the melancholy house of Lafourcade loomed before me, its tall, crooked spires piercing the gathering storm clouds. Ivy strangled the gray stone walls like throbbing veins, and the windows gaped wide, vacant and eye-like, staring into my very soul. My horse reared in fear, and I felt my face drain of color as an unspoken dread took hold. An insufferable gloom seeped into my spirit at the sight, unrelieved by any poetic sentiment. It was like the bitter aftermath of an opium dream, the hideous veil dropping away to reveal a desolate reality. My heart iced over, sinking into a sickening dread that no imagination could elevate to the sublime. Dismounting, I approached the black and lurid tarn that lay unruffled by the dwelling. Gazing down, I shuddered anew at the remodeled, inverted images, the gray sedges, ghastly tree stems, and those vacant, eye-like windows seeming to blink with malevolent life from the watery depths. What was it about this place that unnerved me so? A mystery beyond grasp, shadowy fancies crowding my mind. Perhaps some arrangement of simple objects held this sorrowful power, defying analysis. The water rippled as if disturbed by unseen hands, and my reflection twisted, merging with the house's grim facade. Yet, despite the gloom, I resolved to stay for weeks in this mansion of shadows. Roderick Lafourcade, my boyhood companion, had summoned me. In sunlit fields of our youth we laughed freely. Now, his crumpled letter, smudged with desperate ink like tears, spoke of illness and a plea for my company. His words echoed in my mind, an acute bodily illness, a mental disorder oppressing him, an earnest desire for my cheer to alleviate his malady. The summons was singular, impossible to ignore. I knocked on the massive oak door, the thud echoing through the gathering night like a final heartbeat. The door creaked open to engulfing shadows. Inside the entrance hall, dim torchlight flickered, dust motes dancing like restless specters. Arched ceilings loomed overhead, cracked like veins pulsing with hidden life as a gaunt, silent servant took my cloak without a word. Though intimate in boyhood, I knew little of Roderick's reserved nature. His ancient family was renowned for a peculiar sensibility, exalted art, unobtrusive charity, passionate music. Faded portraits lined the walls, their ancestors' eyes following me with judgmental stares from the past. The Lafourcade line had never branched, passing patrimony and name unbroken, merging family and estate into the House of Lafourcade, a name whispered by peasants to encompass both blood and stone. The library awaited, its towering shelves sagging under ancient tomes, the air thick with the scent of mildew and forgotten secrets. There sat Roderick, pale and wild-eyed, hunched over a lute with trembling fingers. His face was cadaverously wan, eyes luminous beyond compare, lips thin and pallid yet beautifully curved, hair floating like webs from a corpse. He rose shakily, and our embrace was icy, as if death itself clung to him. "At last you have come," he whispered fervently. "The gloom presses, feel it?" The house knows. His mind, once lofty, now fractured like stained glass in a storm. Then, gliding like a ghost in her white gown, appeared his twin sister Madeline, frail and ethereal, her eyes vacant as the void. Madeline collapsed before us, her body folding in agonizing slow motion, veins glowing faintly beneath her translucent skin. "She suffers as I do," Roderick urged. The family curse, it's in the blood, the stones. Hear that? The house whispers her name, and indeed faint echoes murmured, Madeline, Madeline. Roderick sought solace in wild creations, paintings of nightmare landscapes where colors bled into fissured vaults and fungi-choked crypts, readings from spectral tomes that unraveled like mad scribbles. The walls seemed to breathe, cracks widening like sinister smiles in the flickering light. As the tempest howled outside one evening, we pored over the mad tryst, its pages alive with ancient horrors. A low moan rose from below like a rustle in a shroud, and the house trembled as if awakening. The storm intensified, windows rattling like bones in the wind. Days melted into nights of unrelenting decay, the air growing thick and oppressive. Roderick paced manically, clutching at me. The Lady Madeline is but a shadow now. Feel the floor? It heaves with her breath. The tarn mirrors our doom, inverted and waiting to swallow us. We continued the mad tryst, its tale of breaking doors sinking with real echoes crashing from the depths, a metallic groan, a faint death-rattle cry. Roderick froze, his face ashen. Not hear it? The rending of her coffin, the grating hinges? She's coming. For me. At the window, I watched bubbles rise in the tarn as if something stirred below. Roderick collapsed, clawing the carpet in terror. Then came the insidious sounds, soft steps upon the stairs, an uncertain scraping that grew closer, filling the air with impending doom. The door burst open, and there stood Madeline, shrouded in blood, grave dirt caking her pale form, eyes blazing with vengeful fire. She lunged at her brother in a nightmarish grapple, her nails raking his face as screams tore through the chaos. She had been buried alive, her cataleptic trance mistaken for death by Roderick's fearful hand. Now, in her final throes, the twins entwined in a ghastly reunion, their bodies twisting unnaturally, bound by bonds stronger than life itself. The house shook violently, fissures yawning like hungry mouths across the walls. I fled aghast through the crumbling halls, ceilings cracking overhead, furniture toppling in a whirlwind of destruction as the very foundations rebelled. At dawn, I rode frantically across the tarn, glancing back as the mansion imploded in a slow, majestic cascade of flames and shadows, debris raining into the black waters like the tears of a dying world. Reaching the shore, I collapsed in exhaustion, the weight of the night crushing me. The tarn lay still once more, its reflection pristine and empty. The house of Lafourcade vanished as if it had never been. From that chamber and mansion I had fled, the inner storm raging fiercer than the one without. Gazing back upon the tarn's ghastly waters, there floated only gray sedges and sank the ghastly tree stems no more. The house of Lafourcade had fallen, and with it the last of the Lafourcades. The heartbeat that had haunted us faded into silence as ravens took flight over the ruins. The tale ended, but its shadows lingered, a whisper in the wind of what horrors houses can hide. Was it madness that doomed them, or a curse woven into the stones? The cracked family crest seemed to bleed in memory, urging you to ponder, what haunts the houses of our own minds? Hidden symbols from the night replayed the bleeding crests, the whispering walls each a thread in the tapestry of terror, dissolving into the storm's aftermath, leaving only echoes of the fall. And so the story closes, but the dread invites more. What would you bury alive? Subscribe for the next tale.